mature hickory trees in just a matter of minutes with a mini excavator. Join me today. I'm going to show you how I do it. It's taken some practice to develop that skill, but you know, if you're not cutting them down for firewood, down here in the south or the mid-south, we can't get people to take it for free. So using a mini is the easiest way I have found to get the whole thing out. If you're trying to make a new field and get the stumps out, the whole thing goes at once.
Hey guys, welcome back. So today I'm working on making a new microplot clearing in the woods on our southern Illinois farm, and I had to take out a couple of hickory trees. So I thought, since I had it all filmed, I thought I would just do the how I do it method with a mini excavator. It took quite a while to get the techniques down, you know, from trial and error. So I'm just going to walk through the process. We'll take out two, you know, pretty good size hickory trees here with a 5,000 pound machine. I'm sorry, a 5-ton, 10,000 pound, 42 horse. So you'll see I always push them first to see, you know, some trees you could tip over without doing any digging. Obviously that saves you the digging. Hardwoods generally not. So the first thing I'm going to do is dig around the roots here on the two sides and then the back side closest to me. So when I push the trees, it might seem simple enough while you're just pushing them over, but there are a few things that I consider. First is that the higher you can get, the more leverage you've got with the bucket. That's pretty self-explanatory. But also I noticed on the excavator, one of the most powerful hydraulics is flexing that bucket. So as you'll see, when I run out of room, I'll flex that front bucket, which is a pretty powerful hydraulic move, and sometimes that'll help snap the roots at the bottom. And I always go blade first, which you're going to see why, because I'll often use the blade also when pushing to get under the root ball. So I'm going to push at the boom at the top, and at the same time I'm going to use the tracks to push by using the blade as well. And once you got it tipped over, your work is almost kind of just beginning here of getting rid of them. So it's still stuck on the back side. So, I mean, I'll trim some of the dirt off to reduce the weight of this thing, because, I mean, it could be up to, you know, 2,000 pounds if it's a really big stump. I have weighed one stump that weighed over 3,000 pounds on an actual scale. So anyways, I'm going to work on the back side here, ripping these back roots, and then I'm going to twist it. Because again, pulling in this motion here is one of the two stronger moves of the excavator. So I'm going to pull it from side to side to tear them back roots off also. So the next thing you want to consider is getting rid of it. You know, most places they'll get cut up for firewood, or construction sites they might just get burned. But to minimize the work, you know, i.e. back labor, chainsaw work, and that, you got to work on some technique to stuff them out of the way. And I'll do it very specifically here. You'll see this is a really long tree, and I don't want it like side to side, if you will, in this particular case, because the opening is very, very small. So I'm going to purposefully push it from front to back. So I got to aim it first. I got to take the top of it and aim it in a slot in the woods, and then I'll work on pushing it. I'll show you how I do that from back. Obviously I fill in the hole because I hate falling in them holes with the machine. It's still going to be soft, but I will run over it with the tracks and compact it so that the next rain it's at least somewhat firm, and you're not going to just like sink 2 feet down in it if you don't compact it. So as I'm pushing, I'm lifting at the same time, and I'm also aiming it where I want it to go. The branches up top will break off, most of them, because you got a lot of track power here because you're pushing down with all that stump weight. So I'm aiming it at the same time as lifting it, and every now and then I might need to use the boom to unstick it a little bit, but I'm able to get this thing completely off of the little clearing that I'm making and out of the way. Let's take down another one, see how a second one goes. This is clay dirt, and it is kind of rocky. So the rocks sometimes make it a little easier to pull out, but the clay is much harder to pull these trees than, let's say, sand or even, better black dirt. Clay really tends to hold them in there, especially if it's summer and it's bone dry, because then the clay is like concrete. So for the second one, I'm going to show you a different camera angle. Let's go with a boom camera and walk through this one more time. This could be valuable to someone learning an excavator or wanting to rent one. It does take practice. You need to be fluent with the controls because there is techniques in snapping the roots and that, but let's see how this one goes. So one thing I forgot to mention is that I also aim them where I want them. Before you even start pulling them out, obviously you got to have the room for the boom to get around where other trees might be close. But I aim them particularly where I want them, and I wanted to pile these two together in an existing slash pile to try to minimize the mess in the woods. So I specifically, kind of like when you're felling a tree with a chainsaw, I aim it where I want it to go, where I'm going to slide it into woods after I get it clear. So you'll see this one hangs up a little bit, both up in the front and in the rear. Obviously when it hangs up in the front, you see it's wanting to go sideways on me, even though I'm trying to push it straight. So you gotta kind of unclog your hang up, whatever's hanging you up at the front end. So here what I'm doing, the slew power is usually pretty weak on mini excavators. That means side to side. So I'm lifting it, but at the same time I'm tracking it using the tracks forward into the slot that I want to get it started on. If you try to just push the boom to the side like slewing, it ain't gonna have enough power. So the tracks are facing the left, if you will, so I'm lifting and using the tracks to push it into this slot that I want to get it started into, and above the slash pile that's laying there also.